Yo, guys, welcome back to Urb'n Barz. And guys, I hope you are all well and rested. And I just thought another topic, just thinking about our man Sir Keir Starmer. And I had to stop from saying stammer. For some reason, I've been saying stammer all day. And I think that was because of watching Keir stammering away behind the lectern the other day. There were so many ers and ums. My man was nervous as heck. He really was. Anyway, the first thing that came to me today, people, and thanks for so many of you for watching, for commenting, and just letting me know what's going on out there, people, all over the country. But the first thing that came to me was, is Sir Keir Starmer the most dangerous man in Britain? Is he the most dangerous man in Britain, people? Or should I say, if I'm politically correct, is Sir Keir Starmer the most dangerous person in the UK? That might be more pertinent, people. And on that, I just had to look up the word dangerous because I just wanted to check out if this was correct. And here it says dangerous is the to being able or likely to cause harm or injury. So if you're looking at the way Sir Keir Starmer's, I'm about to say stammer, sorry, Sir Keir Starmer's stance has been over the last few days, well, I don't know. And it's likely to cause problems or to have adverse consequences. And this is what we're talking about, people. So actions always have consequences. Some of those are adverse. And there's been a lot of going on in the last few days, people. And it's also risk, be hazardous and unsafe. So on those words and the association, is Sir Keir, I was about to say Keir, sorry guys, I'm getting it twisted, didn't get much sleep. So is Sir Keir Starmer the most dangerous person in the UK? Guys, it's a question that we need to ask ourselves, and I just hope that you let me know down here in the comment section. But the other thing I wanted to check out today, people, was just the statement from a former head of the Met Police, and that is Sir Paul Stevenson, people. So the title here is that Sir Keir Starmer was slammed by the ex-Met chief, Sir Paul Stevenson, and he was slammed over the handling of the UK riots. And in Paul Stevenson's words, he says he is not impressed. So it says here, Sir Paul Stevenson, who served as head of the Met Police, has dismissed Sir Keir Starmer's response to the riots, joining other voices condemning the PM's attitude. And that is so true, people. It's the attitude and the stance and the rhetoric. That's been a massive issue, and that's triggered me, people, on this. So what Sir Paul Stevenson has now said is he's weighed in to criticise the Prime Minister's response to the riots, and he's dismissed Sir Keir's performance as unimpressive. And amid widespread criticism that the Prime Minister has been too slow in reacting to the last week's rioting, and Sir Paul Stevenson said he was not hugely impressed with Sir Keir's performance and his preference for strong phrases over strong action. And that's the thing, people. He said, speaking on LBC, that the Prime Minister's use of phrases like standing army, which really triggered me, people. Those to me is like war rhetoric. It's really them against us. Really? So he said, standing army, ramping up, full force of the law. To me, those are agitating statements, and it is likely to put someone else's back up. So if you're looking to be more conciliatory, more negotiatory in style, those are not the words to use, people. So when you use, you've got a standing army, you're going to feel the full force of the law, we're ramping up. That really puts people in a position where there is no room to maneuver. So if you're looking at conciliatory terms, if you're looking at having people to negotiate, etc., etc., it's not going to happen when you use rhetoric like that, people. Anyway, so he said here, I rather think that communities expect the full force of the law to be used against thugs. And this is great, irrespective of who is motivating them. So if I'm reading this right, so I'm going to read that again. So Sir Paul Stevenson said He rather thinks that communities, which is you and I, all of us people, we expect the full force of the law to be used against thugs, irrespective. And you remember I said to you before, the choice of words is very important. Irrespective means it doesn't discriminate against this, that, and the third. It's irrespective of who is motivating them. So if you are telling me, Sir Keir Starmer, that you're going to bring the full force of the law down on rioters, but if someone does a violent act towards me, a member of my family, or worse, the full force of the law isn't going to be met out equally, that is absolutely wrong, and you need to hold your head and hang it in shame. Anyway, he says here he demanded that all thugs on the street need to face the full force of the law. Support added of the Prime Minister, I get that politicians have to make strong statements, and this is Sir Paul Stevenson, people, but on a personal basis, I'm not impressed by it. I like it. I'll be impressed by politicians continuing to support the police in the difficult job they do. That has not always been the case, has it? And to be fair to the police, they're literally just following orders. They get their orders from above. They have to follow them out, whichever way they're told. Because if they deviate from whoever gives them their orders, then they'll get in trouble themselves. And so Sir Paul here says, asked whether Sir Keir Starmer should have called a Cobra meeting sooner. The former Met chief said that politicians sometimes call Cobra so they can be seen to be doing something, and he gets it. So literally, really? And he warned these meetings need a clear focus, the right experts, and that the intelligence is accurate and comprehensive. And I've been saying this as well, people. So they have a Cobra meeting, but there's no meetings with any other outside members. So if you're really looking to stop situations that are going and to stop them from going out of control and just being widespread, you literally need to reach out to whoever you think or feel is behind what is happening, and to have dialogue and debate with them, and to see if there is any common ground that you can meet. None of that has happened, people. I mean, you could still deal out the policing on the street, etc., etc. You can call in some of the rhetoric, but if you want things to calm down as quickly as possible, you need to reach out to each and every avenue you can. You cannot close off avenues. You cannot turn roads into cul-de-sacs so that people have got nowhere else to go. And when someone is cornered with their back against the wall, they come out fighting. You know that. You know that. So I have my viewpoints about what's going on, but I'm not going to say anything yet. Let me know down here in the comment section, people. What do you think about this Cobra meeting? What's come out of the Cobra meeting? Has it been a positive or a negative effect on what's going on in the riots in the UK? Let me know in the comment section, people. And then Sir Paul said here he would support the use of water cannons, if necessary, to disperse the rioters, and warned that any perception that cops are using two-tier policing will only add to the level of civil disturbance seen over the past week. And I know from seeing one of the interviews the other day that Sir Keir Starmer said there was absolutely no two-tier policing. But I had to look it up, what two-tier policing is, and here is some of the terminology around the term two-tier policing, and it refers to how police handle different groups in society, and is a term used to describe the idea that some behaviour, and in this instance protests and demonstrations, are dealt with more harshly than others. Really? Some have claimed that the riots across the UK in the past few days have been met with harsher police measures than others. And once again, guys, the two-tier policing is governed by above. So the police have their orders. So you have to go above the police to say who is giving the police the orders, if there is indeed two-tier policing. Anyway, claims of two-tier policing were also levelled at the police during protest after the October the 7th attacks by Hamas on the Gaza Strip. And then the claims there were those that protested in favour of Palestinians in Gaza and in favour of Israel were treated differently by police across the country. So literally with two-tier policing, it looks like if you are labelled as a far-right agitator, the police have carte blanche to treat you in one way. But if you're labelled as something else, and in this case, fighting against fascism or whatever it is, I don't know, you're treated in another way. So that's, to me, two-tier policing. They're not, because I remember, I think in his words, he said, and this is Keir Starmer, without fear or favour. Really? Let me know down here in the comment section. But the last thing I want to say, people, so once again, the question was asked, is Sir Keir Starmer the most dangerous person? Let's get it right, people. Is Sir Keir Starmer the most dangerous person in the UK? And if so, let me know why. But there's one other thing I wanted to find out, people, and I had to do this again, and it's about the far right in the UK. We're hearing all these stories about far right thuggery, this, that, and everything else, but no one's breaking down what they mean by far right. I had a quick look on, I think, was it on the Wikipedia? I think it's Wikipedia, I might be wrong, people. And it is so complex and so diverse how they define what is far right. It's a minefield, people. So I don't know how people can. Anyway, let me just read you this very quick version here of who is the far right in the UK. And then, people, please let me know if you see yourself in this description of what is meant to be the far right in the UK, because this is what most people who have allegedly been rioting, etc., or protesting against areas such as immigration, etc., have been labelled as. So it's saying here, guys, I'm so sorry, my thumb slipped and now I haven't got the definition I had before, but we're going to go once again back into what is far right in the UK. So key views of various far right groups include white supremacy, cultural nationalism, and I don't even know how to say this word, the identitarian movement. So anyone who knows what that means, I don't know. Far right groups and individuals disproportionately target ethnic minority and religious groups. So the LGBT plus groups, politicians and public figures. So this one here is the identitarian movement. So I've not heard of that before, people. So if any of you know what the identitarian movement is, please let me know in the comments section. I'll be really keen to find out, because that is, I've never heard of that before, the identitarian movement. But basically, I'm going to read that again, guys. So please let me know, everyone who's been protesting and who's got views on what's been going on in the country, what's been going on with the leadership, what's been going on with various elements that are going on over the last so many years. Let me know in the comment section. But do you, okay, so this is what has been said is far right in the UK, and it's key views of various far right groups. So are your views about white supremacy, cultural nationalism, and the identitarian movement? And then, do you have these far right groups and individuals disproportionately targeting ethnic minorities, religious groups, LGBTQ groups, politicians and public figures? So that is the description of the far right when I looked and I googled it. So do you identify with that, people? So if you don't identify with that and you're labelled as a far right, what are your viewpoints on this, people? And again, before we close, is Sir Keir Starmer the most dangerous person in the UK? Let me know down here in the comment section, guys. Anyway, guys, it's fantastic chatting to you people. It's fantastic to get your viewpoints on what's going on. There's a lot going on in this country, people, and most of it isn't right. Most of it isn't right. It really isn't. And I just had to think to myself just before I came on here, and I just jotted down another couple of notes just because I thought I'd forget, and I actually did forget. So I'm going to sum this up in summary, right? I think that what is playing out in front of us is a very complex roadwork. Okay, very complex roadwork, people, and that has been set in motion and designed to look simple. And the way it's meant to be looking simple is in the terms of the far right thuggery. A game is afoot of which most of us are not privy to the rules, where the outcome has already been predetermined. That is my viewpoint, people. That's my viewpoint. I hope you can give me some comments on that viewpoint. And the viewpoint is that something very, very complex is going on. But the guise is that it is in something very simple, which is under the guise of right-wing thuggery, people. And this game that has been put afoot, there are rules that none of us know what they are, people. But the outcome has already been predetermined. So that's my viewpoint, people. I might be totally wrong, I might be totally twisted, but I have looked back over the last X amount of years, people, and yeah, there's always an audit trail. That's all I'm going to say. Guys, I hope you are fine and well, and thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for checking out my videos over the last few days. I found it really interesting to read your comments, and it's really interesting to get the feeling of what's going on in our country, people, because at the moment I don't think that people who are in control and in power either know or care really about what's going on. It's literally about just maintaining the status quo, and as they said, they'll do it by any means necessary. So whether you agree with them, you disagree with them, so long as you're not towing the line, then you will be part of the problem. And that's the problem, people. We are part of the problem. We're not part of their solution. Whether their solution is the right solution, that is the question, people. There are more questions than answers that have been basically created by what Sir Keir Starmer has said over the last few days. Anyway, guys, make sure you look after yourselves, you look after each other, you come back, because there's more to say on this topic, people. There's more to say on a few of these topics. But thank you so much, guys, for subscribing to my channel here at Urb'n Barz. But make certain you come back to the next Urb'n Barz reaction, guys.